Thank you very much. My topic is artistry and innovation, and it took me a long time to get a title for that. I'm like, I have all this material I'm passionate about. How do I get a title? And when I was done, I'm like, that's kind of it. That's it. I can just kind of say it's artistry and innovation. I'm done. I could have the fastest TED Talk ever and just say, do that. But then I said I could have also called it art and business, and that probably would have got people thinking a little bit. Like, that's kind of oil and water, right? Artists, they're passionate about what they do. They break rules. They care about the entire environment in which their product or art is consumed. They care about how you feel about their product. Businesses, they want to find products and services. They want to repeat them. They want to do them cheaper and faster next time. They have innovations, but they're often in the bowels of the organization, and they work their way up technically where they should. And companies like that gave us things like this. It's a furnace interface. It has a fan, so it's got a fan button. It has a heater, so it's got a heat button. At some point, they figured out they needed a clock, so it's got a clock button. And clearly, the last couple iterations had a screen, so they need a screen button. And I don't even know what goes under more, right? They gave us things like car MMI interfaces, multimedia interfaces, and I don't know if anyone else is like me, but if you're going to go on a family trip, I got to get out in the car 5 minutes before the rest of the family and kind of cram that address in there. You don't want to do that while the car is moving. Set-top box interfaces, I don't think any of you have called your friends up, let's come on over, we'll turn the set-top box on, we're going to find a great show, we're going to have a good time. No. You survive those things, right? Microwave interfaces, how many times I've got caught staring dumbfounded at a microwave trying to figure out how do I do 50% power for twice as long? I want that even heat. I can't do it, right? Parking kiosk systems. How many slots can one machine have that kind of take a credit card? But one's a receipt and one's my ticket in. It's terrible. It's terrible. But there's exceptions. There's exceptions. This is the Nest. It looks beautiful on the wall in your house. It feels right to change the temperature. Pinterest, it does one thing really well, lets you share things that you love on boards with friends. Are these unicorns? I don't think so. And what surprises me the most is that innovation is in the hands of everyone today. Take 3D printers, for example. What 10 years ago would have cost $100,000, a team of 10 months to do, you can do with a $399 printer in your basement over a weekend with some open source software. Maker fairs all across the world, really cool stuff coming, people putting stuff together. It's awesome. If you haven't been to a maker fair, go to one. It's cool. The Pebble, some of you may know the story. Eric, while at University of Waterloo, created what we now know is the world's first smartwatch. And he did that out of a basement. And then he said, about 2 years later, okay, I need some funding. He went up on Kickstarter, asked for $500,000, and within 3 weeks, he had $10 million. I mean, there's money for innovation. Uber, I mean, we all know this, right? $40 billion valuation in the last few weeks based on their funding. 2 guys in their basement said, everyone's got a smartphone. It's got a GPS. Cab drivers have a smartphone and GPS. They can talk. If we kind of rethink this whole experience of a cab, maybe we could disintermediate a massive billion-dollar industry. And they have. They're crushing an industry that hasn't really evolved in 20 years. Crazy. So what I'm trying to say is that the core value isn't technology anymore. The era of the geek is kind of over, which is sad for me because I certainly was a geek for much of my life. And the information age is commoditized. If Google isn't crunching it, somebody else is or will be soon enough. So technology, every really cool technology every year is worth less and less. And if you do need cool technology, it's easy to outsource. You can go and get 20% faster, thinner, quicker. That's even easy to outsource. And it's not about the Swiss Army knife anymore. It's not about being the biggest company that can glue all this stuff together. You can't take Swiss Army knives on the planes with you anyways anymore, so that's not even a market that exists. But it's not about any other type of Swiss Army knife either. So what I'm saying is that there's this new era we're entering, and Alan Greenspan coined this phrase around 2000 called the Conceptual Era. And it's creativity, innovation, design skills for competitiveness on a global scale. Creativity, innovation, and design skills to create competitiveness on a global scale. Isn't that what we should all be doing? So this was me. You can see I fixed the tape on my glasses, but 12 years ago, started up my business, and we had this awesome product idea called the Mobile Interactive Guide. And of course, I didn't know all this stuff. So we had tech demos that were awesome. It was modular and flexible. It could do anything. 5 years we went out to market with this, investing in it and selling it, pushing it, trying to get it into venues that wanted to deliver additional content. Only one company bought it. And we shouldn't have been surprised who bought it. It was the US military. Who else respects detail and all this stuff? It was terrible. It wasn't even a replicable sale. So that was a big fail. But then 6 years ago, launched another product called You.i Engine. We banned technical demos. They weren't allowed. We've never had a technology deck as part of our sales material. When we did show demos, they were the vision of what the customer thought they actually wanted our product to be. And even then, we didn't sell that. We sold the story around what it meant to the customers that we built it with. It made a huge difference, huge. So, okay, we get it. Small companies, people in their basement, they can do all this innovative stuff. They can look at all these things. But a lot of you work at big companies, right? And you say, we can't do that sort of thing. So let's go back in a time machine for a moment to 2008. It's a time when the world knew that smartphones were going to rule. We called it the post-PC era that we still live in today. Microsoft desperately wanted in there. Intel wanted in. Many others. BlackBerry and Nokia were the kings, right? That wasn't that long ago. Microsoft that year spent $8.1 billion going hard after that space. BlackBerry spent $2 billion to hold on to their piece. Intel spent $6 billion. And Nokia $6 billion to hold on to their share. Apple that same year that they came out with the iPhone spent $0.7 billion. And they decimated all of them and all the other competitors. And you know that there was art going on in that. And you know, and a bunch of you work at those companies and have worked at those companies in the past, and you know it was science. This was 20% better, faster, brighter. It was not art and science. And in fact, there's a study that goes on further and does a bunch of research on future revenues in big companies. And there's almost no correlation between R&D spend and future revenue. And I believe it's because they're not mixing artistry into their R&D. You have to mix those in if you want to increase your revenues of your business, big or small. So what I'm suggesting you should do is take art and make it the DNA of your companies. Take a look at Kickstarter, for example. It's a great place to look for neat things, and every successful Kickstarter project has 3 things. They have great technology. You can't go on Kickstarter if you don't have something innovative. But it looks beautiful. There's no wires hanging off of it. It looks aesthetically pleasing. You know they spent time thinking about that piece of it. But the other thing that they all do is they connect with their customers. They make them passionate about their product. Think about walking into an electronics store and you're trying to decide which one you want, not sure if you like it, you have some angst. People are going on a Kickstarter fully knowing that this is not a done product, knowing that people probably can't even ship it in volume, and they're buying by the truckload. Because people get passionate about it. So you need to build a company that embraces that, get people passionate about your product. And if you can't get them passionate about their product, get them passionate about your company, your people, you need to connect. So in general, I think what the big part is you need to take an artist mindset and you need to apply it across your entire business. I think you need to find the creative and the designers inside your organization, give them a seat at the executive table if you can. Find your developers and your technologists, get them to appreciate art, or maybe even push them down in your organization. It's a new world, and you need to get your company into the awesome. So the last piece of the puzzle here, I think, is that we need to realize that the safety zone has moved, right? In probably the entire history of humanity, this is probably one of the times that we can sustain and endure risk. I doubt anybody here is worrying where their next meal is coming from. People know they have jobs. Everyone's doing RRSPs, all these sorts of things that give you additional security. You can take risks. And businesses have the same issue. If a business doesn't take a risk and you don't do some more innovative stuff, you don't bring art into it, you're going to be even in more trouble. You don't want to be a taxi cab industry right now that sat and didn't innovate for almost 20 years. So what I'm suggesting is you should go off the beaten path, should bring out your inner artist, be the agent of change in your organization, and start work on your MBA, your Master's in Business Artistry. Thank you.